So,
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reloading chamber. And I'm Echo, and with us here is Chris. And Chris is our guest tonight, and he owns and operates a small FFL shop that I'll let him go into some detail about. And basically, tonight we are promoting Chris and his shop. The basic thing we're trying to do here is support small business, family owned businesses, and especially family owned gun businesses, because we're a gun channel here. And basically, that's what we do. So, AR, why don't you kick us off and let us know who's in the house tonight and welcome everybody, and then we'll start in on our little interview with Chris here.
hey, welcome, Chris. Glad to have you on the show.
Appreciate you
Here
guys
we
inviting me on.
go. Great to have you on here. Got Uncle John here, Andre D'Angelo, Michael Hurtnick. Who else? That's it right now.
We've all
Jer Bear Tactical's here.
Jer
Pretty
Bear
sure.
is. Yeah, we'll pick up because the thing is people are just getting off work over here on the East Coast and stuff. So we
Mhm.
get more that come in. And basically, Chris, now you run, own, and operate. What's the name of the business that you do?
Name of the business I started is Backcountry Arms. Um, we're basically, I've kind of wanted to be a one-stop shop, if you will. If you wanted a custom rifle, if you want me to order a factory rifle, I can do that. Uh, we got set up for reloading components. Um, that way, if you're a reloader, well, I've got the components. You can buy that, or if you buy a rifle type, or if you have me build one. Well, one of the services I offer is if you're not a reloader, I can do load development for you. That way I can tailor a specific round based off your needs and wants. And then we decide to go through the certification process for Cerakote, because not everybody wants the cookie cutter rifle or pistol. The limit on Cerakote is your imagination. It really is.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Now, what exactly got you into firearms to begin with?
Well, started way back. My dad got me into it hunting. Then I joined the military. Decided to be an infantryman, and so of course, going in there with a college degree, my dad was like, well, "Why'd you join the infantry?" I'm like, "I'm a big kid. I want to play with guns and blow stuff up." What better job can you do? And
Yeah.
then I just took that into the civilian side once I retired.
Okay. So basically, what now you decided to start up a business in a very, very trying economy right now. I mean,
Uh,
what were you thinking, man? I mean, I
uh,
know guns are selling pretty well now, but even to
yeah,
start a business where you've got a family, I know you do. So
yeah.
that's a risk. That's kind of that's a big one.
Well, at the time, COVID was only a hint of something overseas. So I submitted my FFL in February, right before we went on lockdown in March. So as you know, they have a certain amount of time before they have to react on your application. So they didn't do the in person at the shop or anything. They did it over the phone, which kind of threw me off because I'm like, aren't you supposed to come visit? That's part of this. Um, yeah, so got everything situated and it started getting set up as dealers for like Aero Precision and Faxon, a few other, on Davidson's, Lipsy's, all the other big distributors. And then, yeah, you could not get anything in. I was putting stuff on back order for people. And of course, I'm like, I'll let you know. I'll keep you up to breath. I will talk to them weekly. But when like what, that first month, I think we had, or over the COVID, we had 4 million brand new gun owners. Then you add all of us that were buying stuff anyway. I mean, heck, you go into the big shops around here, it's still slim pickings. It's like, some of these companies would have, a couple hundred rifles on. Now you're like 20 rifles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've seen it here too when you go into a gun store that you're used to seeing from right to left or left to right, nothing but rifles, 2 decks of them.
Yep.
Now there's just like maybe 3 over here. There's a couple sporadic over here. Then the shotgun section, you have a couple. It's like everything's just gone. And I'm like, I one of the big gun store owners here in Florida, they're one of the they are the largest gun store in the United States. And he's like, I can put some of my stores in one of those private storage sheds now. He's like, with the inventory I've got, he's like, I'm paying guys to stand around and dust countertops. And he's like, and he's waiting for a bit, because they get big shipments, but then they got to break it up over 7 locations. And so if you order 5 Glock 19s, you get 1, and that type of thing is going on. So how are you dealing with basically the being a small business, not being able to keep large amounts of stock in, and just having it come and go in little amounts? Or is that difficult with managing the business? Yeah,
it is, because a lot of people, and I've seen it span across not just the younger generation, but even the older generation. A lot of people want it now because of what went on over the last year and a half with the pandemic. And some people are very understanding. They understand. Yeah, they're like, put it on order. When it comes in, let me know. No problem. Others are like, nope. I'm like, you're going to run into the same problem, whether it's me, the small mom and pop, or if you go to, Cabela's, one of the bigger stores somewhere else. Everybody's running into it. It's like, I can't control what a manufacturer, Remington, you pick the brand. I can't control what they're doing or back thereof. And, I've gone into the explanation of like, yes, we were in the firearms industry, we were labeled essential employees. However, some states, even though we were essential, they put limitations on how many people per square feet of your shop. So if you take Reading as they've got, I don't know how many thousand square feet, but if New York said, well, you got 1 person per 1,000 square feet, well, they can't run all their stuff. You just can't and stay up with the demand. And that's the same with the ammo plants and all that other stuff.
And then you add a lack of supply on top of that. And then what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of these people that are worried about working in these conditions because they're worried about catching the COVID are the guys that you need the most, because they have the 25 years of running that piece of equipment. They can go up to it and touch it and know if it's running correctly, where a guy has to shut it down and check it 90 ways Sunday with a micrometer to make sure it's running. He can go up and listen to the damn thing and can tell. So those are the guys that you need on the work on the floor the most. And those are the guys that are most likely going to take a little bit of leave of absence just because of the condition. It's not, it's obvious that if you're older and have any kind of pre-existing health condition, that this disease is not for you. So that has hurt a lot of manufacturing jobs, not only firearms, but across the board. So is your shop, you deal with internet sales only, correct? At the present time?
At the present time, yes, because I can't really carry a whole lot of inventory. Like, we've got our SOT, so we're set up on Silencer Shop. So if somebody wants a suppressor, they can go on Silencer Shop, do all their stuff. pay it, have it shipped to us. We'll do all the paperwork once it gets here. Then, of course, it sits in jail until the ATF decides to be gracious enough to release it from prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just so any of you folks that don't own suppressors or silencers, however you want to say it, what he's referring to is he has to hold the product once you pay for it. Silencer Co. will ship it to Chris. Chris will have to hold it until your paperwork through the ATF is approved for your tax stamp and it comes in. Once it does, then Chris can sell it and provide you the transfer and the actual suppressor. It usually takes anywhere from 6 to 9, sometimes a year, 6 to 9 months. Usually that was pre-COVID, and just like everyone else, ATF is running at slower speeds than they were in the past. So expect delays, and your mileage may vary. So that's what you've been seeing too, Chris, right?
Yeah, the wait times are still about the same. Last time I looked, just the other day, I think the ones that are really taking long are the ones that people buy on a trust. So therefore, that way, if like I bought mine on a trust, that way if I kick the can tomorrow, my wife doesn't have to go put it back in somebody else's shop while she does the paperwork. She can just keep it here. That seems to still take the longest. I've heard they're going to start doing a lot more online processing of paperwork come, I think it was October, at least the original was. So in theory, that should speed the process up. In theory, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't hold my breath out when it comes to paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, not ATF. It's we'll be there when we get there. And it's usually in the most unopportune moment too. It's like when you're knee deep in your book, looking for something that you should have in your safe, and you're like, I know it was there, and then you're looking, and then of course you're sweating shotgun shells, and then you find it, and you're like, okay, there it is. All right, I'm not going to jail today. So that's great.
I'm seeing firearms, especially on the distributors that I go with. A lot of the firearms are starting to come back into stock, and when they usually will hit their books, they're hitting in large quantities. So it's nice to see. And of course, they go right out the door as fast as they hit. So I think probably most people like myself, we have our little wants list that we've set up on every distributor of, so and so. We know this guy or girl's looking for a Glock 19, or they want a Remington, or whatever they want for rifle. I've got lists. I'm just waiting for a distributor to say, call me up. Still want it? Yes, I do. I'll usually follow up with the customer to make sure, but like if it's a Glock 19, 17, 12 gauge shotgun, unless it's some weird off the wall, if it's a standard type firearm, I'll call them after I say yes and get it shipped now, because even if they don't want it, because they found out somebody else, I'll find somebody to sell it.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's almost with firearms right now, they sell themselves as long as you can keep a reliable and honorable business going, that people trust you and deal with you. You'll start to see that word of mouth, the best advertising money can buy. And that's right there will set you on top of anything. So yeah, me and AR both are going to plan on ordering some stuff from you guys over there at your shop, and we'll do a rating on it, and we'll see how it turns out, and hopefully everything runs smooth. I don't see any problems because you seem to know what you're doing, and I'm really interested in how you were able to get your wife to sign off on something like this in the middle of a pandemic, because a lot prying minds out there want to know.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is I probably married well above what I should have.
Yes.
I struck gold on that. But she's a veteran too, so we met in the military. So she was military police, so she obviously is fluent with firearms. She knew going into our relationship I had a passion for firearms. I'd like to shoot. I'm a hunter. Like right now, we got elk season, so we finally got some cool weather, and I was like, I'd like to be out right now.
Yeah.
But so, we talked about it. I went through gunsmithing school, and
Cool.
while working full time, and I said, do we want to try to do this as a hobby, or because everybody can do it as a hobby. You can get your FFL and do a hobby type thing. And I said, well, I started doing some research around here. Being just outside of Casper, Wyoming, we've got some gun companies in the state. We've got Weatherby, we've got Stag Arms. One of the more, I look at them a little bit more prestigious and definitely higher end, is Gunworks down in Cody. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Gunworks.
Yes.
They make some fantastic rifles.
Yes, they do.
They got their own scope line, the Revic scopes, and yes, it's not if somebody goes on their site and you price out a complete kit, it's not for the faint of heart because it's not cheap. When you go full blown, all out custom. And I'm like, well, I think I can offer a product, or a close product with stuff like, whether it's because I'm set up with Bighorn Actions, Defiance Machine. Those are good actions. I don't think, or, somebody wants just a standard firearm, that's fine too. It's what that person needs and what's their intention. But I was like, I told Stacy and my wife, and I'm like, I think we can do this. I mean, let's give it a shot and see where it goes. I think we can offer the customer service because I want to get to know my customer. Because, like I told you, my brother-in-law, he originally wanted Lapua because I shoot a Lapua, father-in-law shoots Lapua, and I got to know. I was like, "What's your intention?" And once he told me I want to shoot a Coyote 1000, I'm like, "Why do you want a Lapua? It's so expensive to shoot. It's a fun rifle to shoot, but it's so expensive to shoot. Let's look at some other options." And we ended up getting him a Bergera HMRB 14, got the fully adjustable stock on it, and we got it chambered in 300 PRC because with that 308 round, you can tailor a 150 grain all the way up to 250. And if you've got a 308 or another rifle that takes the 308 caliber bullet, and if you're lucky enough that maybe they both like the same grain, well, you can buy in bulk on bullets, and I can order in bulk on bullets from the distributor, and be like, here's 5,000. You're good for probably a very, very long time, unless you're shooting competition or something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you should say that, because like that 308 diameter cartridge gives you a very broad spectrum of bullet selection as well as manufacturer selection.
Yeah.
You got the 308's been being made for quite some time, and because so many other cartridges are in the 30 caliber, that you can benefit from the whole spectrum of it. I would beg to say that the 308 diameter round is probably one of the top 5 most produced cartridges out of all of them.
Hey,
I think when you go on other company websites, like Mid-South, Midway, Brownells, when you do your little search on bullets, and they'll show you in the parentheses, and you'll see 308 diameter bullets, and it's like 140 different options. It's like, then you'll look at another one, and you got 6. So it tells you 308 or that 30 caliber round is a very popular round.
AR, what were you going to say, brother?
I was going to say, everyone, welcome Echo here. We can finally see him instead of his presses.
Well, yeah,
Good to see you on here.
I like to do interviews in person. If I'm just talking, yeah, I don't like people looking at, like a press, like it's the talking press.
Or the back of a chair.
Yeah, or the back of a chair, yeah. Right now, we got Vanessa's in the house. Why don't you, AR, why don't you yell out at some people? I've noticed we've picked up a few. People are getting home from work and joining us in here.
Let's see, Jer Bear was the last I called out. What's up, Jer Bear? Andre D'Angelo here. Rollis, good to see you. Oh, one guy, good to see you. Of course, Michael, gun loving grandpa. I've already called some of your names, so I'll just pass you by. Not meaning to, but let's see. Who else is here? Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa. Uncle John's here. Outside of that, that's Rebel 67's here. Appreciate you all dropping by.
So that is a pretty interesting story that you met your wife in the military and that she's military police. That's a pretty neat story. I unfortunately am diabetic and was 4F, was not able to join military service, but I'm very appreciative of those who do. My father was a load master in a C-130 Hercules during the Vietnam War. So yeah, it's just like a big group of guys that seem like they have a special club permit, you know, and so it's pretty neat. I think that, and I appreciate your service to the country, and I also appreciate your wife's service to the country.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'd like to also try to get as many people to give your company a try. Go ahead and check out his website. I've got it going right across the screen right there. It's I can't even see it. It's it's Backcountry Arms. And where exactly are you located, Chris?
Glen Rock, Wyoming. Just
wow.
20 miles outside of Casper.
Oh, wow. Wyoming is a wonderful place for deer season, and you get antelope there too, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
My deer and antelope season kick off here in 2 weeks, and I usually put in for my property because we live outside of Glen Rock by about 6 miles, so we got about 58 acres. I set up a 100-yard range. Go figure. If I got the acreage, I'm putting a 100-yard range in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I can zero, go plink around, and that's where I hunt. And this morning I got up at 5:30 and I'm having my coffee. I look out back and I'm like, yep, there's 3 mule deer to bucks. I'm like, you probably won't be here in a week when the season kicks off.
Yeah.
I'm like, you'll probably be on the
dinner table
or somewhere else. I was like,
yeah,
I'm destroying my life.
Yeah. It's funny though. You see deer and antelope whenever it's out of season, and then as soon as the season goes, it's like they got like a beep. They got like their pagers, and they're like hide. It says hide on there.
Michael got a question. What prices are you seeing on primers?
Primers are going up, Michael. Like I know Echo and AR saw me on Tuesday night on the Reloading podcast, and of course everybody saw everything that was in. All the primers I got in were on back order for a better part of a year, and as fast as they came in, they went right out the door. I was told by one distributor in our in-stock email that we get on the 15th every month to expect, I think it was CCI federal primers will probably see a double-digit increase come November again. It really depends on what primer you're looking for. Like your bench, like the BR2s, BR4s are going to be more expensive than the 200s. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I take a different view than some companies out there. I want to take care of my customer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to make money, but I'm not jacking prices up. I'm probably making $3-4 per box of 1,000 primers, which is not much when you look at it. But I look at it this way, is once things start to turn around and we start getting more product in, people are probably going to remember, hey, this company over here was selling, say, those BR2s, which I've seen them go as far as $95 per thousand. Well, Chris was selling them for 65, $70.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with sales tax out the door. Hopefully they'll be like, I'm going to go back to him. He took care of me. Because, when gun shows started happening again, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it down there in Florida, you go to the gun show, people are bringing boxes of primers out. And it's like, when was the last time they made that color of a box for Winchester or CCI? I'm like, those are old, and they're selling them for like $250. And it's like, no, we're an industry. We want to welcome people in. Yeah, we want to make money as businesses, but we want to take care of our customers because we want them to stay around. They don't want to, especially with 4 million new gun owners, we don't want those people going, I knew the gun industry was a bunch of jerks. We don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we appreciate you doing that, because what most people don't understand is I've worked in quite a few firearm shops, and I've been partners in a manufacturing shop, and the amount of money that you make off of, say Chris here buys 2 Glock 19s. When he goes to sell those, the amount of money he made off of that for all the paperwork he has to fill out and keep in his shop for 20 years, the amount of money he makes is so ridiculously low that it's you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't do it if you didn't love it. And that's the difference between most mom and pop owned gun shops and the big ones, is that they do it because they love it and they love their customers. And I've known quite a few small business shops that treat their customers with dignity, and they won't even buy products that are jacked up to sell to their customers. They'll be like, no, I'll get this rifle for you. It's not going to be today or tomorrow, but I'll get it for you. And when I do, you won't pay that for it. So I can appreciate that. Now, go ahead. Go ahead, Aaron.
Michael wants to know, so what would the average price sell for, ballpark of 1,000 small rifle primers?
I haven't been able to get small rifle primers.
So you don't even really know, do you?
Yeah. The only primers I've gotten in this year is I got 25,000 of the BR2s, which I was selling for 70,000 or 70,000. Yeah, I wish. $70 per thousand. And then I got some large rifle Magnum primers from CCI in about a month ago, and those were going for I was selling those for about 55 per thousand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't much of a markup. It's just I got a break because they were in bulk. So you pay that one hazmat fee for that shipping. It's not. Yeah. I haven't seen those. There was sorry.
$44 for these about 8 months ago.
There was one of the local stores here in town or in Casper that actually got some of those in. And I like to swing by the other shops just to see what they're selling stuff for. See if I'm off base and they had those, and I saw their price of $84, and I'm like, I know what my distributor says on paper, what those should be going per thousand. It's not $84.
Yeah.
I understand supply and demand. I've got that. But like I said, I take a different view. I want to make sure my customer's taken care of at the end of the day. And I want them to come back, and I want them to tell, hey, go see Chris. He took care of me. Tell him I sent you. He'll hook you up.
Exactly. And that's the kind of business, because, have you given any thought eventually to opening up brick and mortar storefront? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Now, with your property, the way it's set up, are you allowed to have what is a commercial business on that location? Okay, great.
Yep. And
So
that's why I took, like, I have a 40 by 60 foot shop on the backside that we put up there, I don't know, 5 years ago. And just for the Cerakoting portion and a lot of the gunsmithing I do, I walled off about a third of that, sheetrocked it up, put benches, the paint booth, the oven, and all that good stuff in there. And yeah, if somebody, they call me up, hey, Chris, can I swing by? Sure, I'll meet you out there. No problem. Come on out. We'll walk you around. And if you call me up and say, hey, what do you got in stock? I'll be like, this is what I have left over. And if it's something they want, sure, come on out, pick it up. Just let me know when you're showing up.
that's awesome.
It's very hard, guys, to say an exact price. I understand what Chris is saying because he don't know if he ain't getting them in stock.
Yeah, and this last year, I mean, we get the monthly emails from one of my distributors of, no back orders on primers. Every time they've called and said, hey, we got your original back order. You want to be put back on the list. They're allowing that, but no new back orders. Mm-hmm. So it's the same amount that I had placed on back orders, and there's no timeline when it's going to come in.
Right.
It's the sit and wait. I mean, it's like, all right.
Right now, the market is so volatile. So what he's saying is you're looking at BR2s for about $70. So if you're probably looking at $70, $75 for 41s, when and if he could even get them. Yeah. But that's a guesstimation. His mileage may vary, but the bottom line is you're looking at, he's selling them around $70 per thousand. For right now, it may come down as soon as, like he said, I guess CCI and Federal are both, I know Federal is opened up more of their capacity by expanding their ammo manufacturing plant. And so has CCI. I know that they've ordered a couple of new machines that are being put in right now, that they had an expansion built, and the machines are being put in as the roof is being finished. That's how fast these guys are moving and trying to keep on top of things. So there's all that.
It's going to take time for people to get spun up on operating those machines, and hopefully they're doing that now. They're shadowing the people that are operating the current machines. So as those things get up, they can just go, okay, go run it.
Yeah. So that's good news for all of us to get the primers back in stock.
Yeah.
Hornady also is expanding too, guys. 20%.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the stuff I'm starting to see stuff coming back in stock. It's just, seeing what I see as far as my back orders go, I have to wonder, if this shop or that shop, how long has that stuff been on back order? I don't know. And of course, another business isn't going to tell me.
Yeah.
We've got, because I know shops got standing orders for powder, primers, and when it comes in, and it goes right out the door that fast.
Hey, Eagle Run. Eagle Run's in the house.
Hey, Eagle, what's going on, brother? The thing that I was talking about, though, what if we hold on here. I got my Dexcom's going off telling me blood sugar is elevated. Everybody knows what about the Dexcom. Let me take a bolus real quick. Computers are a wonderful thing.
Eagle says he bought some primers, $75 per thousand plus hazmat.
Yeah.
That's about a fair price, I would say, for right now the times. Anywhere in the $70 range per thousand for plus your hazmat is where you're looking to where it's probably gonna start ranging. And then of course you have the guys that are trying to make $1 million out of 15 cents, and they'll be charging $150 $299 per thousand. But so where do you see yourself, Chris, as a business in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself obviously with the lathe, the mill, so I can actually do full chambering, threading barrels, all that good stuff. Doing lot more custom work. I'd also like to be able to have more of a in that shop, maybe a little area set up. So if somebody wants to learn reloading, they can come in. I can teach them that. Definitely some better inventory, because I hope in 5 years I can start carrying a lot of stuff.
that you can actually get inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the hard part right now is, I can put everything on back order. It's just like, we'll see when it comes in. So being able to actually carry a lot more inventory rather than just,
hit or
like, say
miss.
Vanessa calls me up and says, "Hey Chris, can you put this on back order?" Okay, I'll let you know when it comes in. Might be 2 months, might be 6 months.
Yeah.
Where you guys could just pop in, like, okay, I need primers, boom, got it. Powder, boom, yep, okay, out the door. Brass, whatever you need.
Some stores in
Yeah.
my area, they can't even order. They told me.
Yeah,
They're just literally sitting there.
yeah, a lot of,
Nothing.
like, I've had some bullets from Hornet Ace. I got some burger bullets on back order for people. Like one of the 212 grain EDL X's. I've had 600 of those on back order for 5 months. No idea. Some of those Sub X, the new Sub X that Hornet A came out, had those on back order. I think I got 1,000 of those on back order. No idea when they're coming in. Bunch of burger has been really tough to get bullets with.
Yes.
And I think a lot of it
Burgers is small. They're a small
Yeah.
bullet manufacturer.
Yeah.
When you look at to see how big they are compared to Hornady or Federal or something like that, they're small.
Yeah.
Even Sierra's bigger than them.
Yeah.
Just so that everybody kind of knows. I've been seeing a lot of Hornady products come back in stock. These are the 165 grain interlock 308 boat tail with the lead tipped, and they're interlocked with the jacket. These are great for deer hunting bullets. So if you guys are starting to see you'll starting to see some Hornady product and come back on stock for people for this year's deer season. I know people were, they had some primers left over. There you go. And they're starting to see the bullets come back on that. And this is the first sign that the primers aren't far behind, and then the powder. Because the powder takes longer to manufacture than the primers do. But the primers usually sell quicker than powder does.
Well, I think what some people don't understand too in the industry is that some of this, most of the, like Hodgson powder, it's not made in the U.S. It's in Australia.
Yes.
So it's going to come all the way over here. So you got to go through all that red tape of customs and shipping
and plus Hodgdon, they suffered a huge where their factory is, and they have huge powder depositories that are basically huge concrete silos that they deposit huge amounts of powder in. And they had in the Kiwi, what is that? Not Australia, it's in Australia, but New Zealand. A lot of the stuff where the Hodgdon is based is out of New Zealand, and the wildfires in Australia burnt down multiple silos of their powders, and that's before COVID. That happened before COVID. So they took a huge loss in powder production ability and in stored powders even before this whole thing started. So, and, some of the guys in the reloading industry are kind of familiar with Hodgdon and in this. And so they were already starting out behind the 8-ball, when they were trying to, that's why you haven't seen Varget. And when you see it, in very limited quantities, you'll see it maybe Hodgdon themselves are selling it because they don't have enough to even give to distributors.
Mhm.
So they'll sell it directly for like $29.95 or $30 a pound, right out the front of the door. Limit of number, how many you can order. Of course, they do that because they're trying to so everybody gets a little bit. But
I do the same thing as,
yeah,
when I got those 25,000 large rifle Magnum primers, I call people up like, well, can you increase? I'm like, I'll give you 2,000 max.
yeah,
I go, I can't sell you a whole case because I want to make sure other people, because there would probably be that one person, but like, oh, you got 25,000 in? I'll take them all.
exactly.
Well, then that just screwed over some other people that were hoping to get in, hunting or whatever this year, that now they got nothing to reload with.
Yeah, you just screwed 24 people basically if they were buying 1,000, just to get through hunting season.
Yep.
And you gotta kind of, that's where your thing, and it's where some people even come in and offer you a ridiculous amount of money for 25,000 primers, way more than they're worth, and you got to say, hey, look, no, I
I got to
can't.
share it with everybody.
Yeah,
I want to make sure everybody's taken care of.
yeah, you got to share the wealth.
Yeah, I mean, I'll break a box of 1,000 down if somebody just wants 100. I
Yeah,
got no problem, but I have yet to see anybody that has come to me and said, "I'll take 100." Most people are like 1,000. Yes, because it's basically pixie dust.
yeah.
I'll take that 1,000 because God only knows when you're going to get more in. Exactly. Here you go. Even if they're
All
sitting
right.
on 900 for the next couple of years, because you don't know.
I would assume, Michael, that you buy it from a distributor, according to what Chris is talking about.
Yeah, with Michael, I do have to go through a distributor right now because I tried to get set up with Hodgson about a month, 2 months ago. And right now, Hodgson is not taking any new dealers. And I think for the better part of COVID, they put that policy in. So,
Yeah.
I plan on being able to go direct because I think I'll probably get a better price than have it, because distributor is just like me. Well,
Middleman.
they're middlemen, so they got to jack the price up a little bit, and then I'm still getting a good deal if I buy in bulk. But I know I think I said, one distributor opened powder for, I think it was 24 hours, and of course when they sent it to all us dealers, we saw it and it was like, oh yeah, and a vast majority of it was X'd out. You couldn't put on back order. And then they had limits on how much you could back order. I believe they had 5 8-pound kegs per SKU that you could back order. And so I ordered 4350 because that's what, of all the powder that was there, that's what most people were saying, because they wanted the H1000. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Wanted Retumble. That wasn't happening. Varget. That wasn't happening. So all the popular powders, but 4350 was there. So that was kind of telling me that maybe that's in production enough that they see it coming in, but I still haven't got my order yet. And that's been 5 months ago. So.
Right. Now, the other thing I was going to get to you about is, okay, you said where you're going to be in 5 years, and you hope to get stock and be able to actually possibly open up your storefront that you have. What about 10 years? What do you see? Do you still see you're interested in this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A lot of what I see, we're going further down the road. 10 years, 15. I'd like to expand because I think I can offer quality product where I can actually bring more employees in, expand the Cerakoting part, have a full, dedicated Cerakoting, then have a full, small machine shop area where we're pumping out barrels. So, we could do, the big thing right now is pre-fit barrels. They're actually pre-fit barrels are pretty decent. I've used a few because I think there's a lot of people out there that, if it's a Bighorn Action or Defiance or Savage, there's pre-fit barrels for a lot of manufacturing houses because the tolerances are so tight. It's allowing barrel manufacturers to make pre-fits. A lot of people, and it doesn't take much to put a pre-fit on. You pull your barrel nut off for the most part. You put your new barrel on. You headspace it with a no-go gauge, and it's not that hard of a process. And I think a lot of people will want to do that because they can do it with some basic tools and some knowledge, which I have no problem. I'll show somebody in the shop how to put a pre-fit barrel and how to headspace it, and I'll be like, here you go. Here's some headspace places, or like Monson makes great no-go gauges. I mean, there's a whole bunch of companies out there, and with some actions, you get bolt faces now that are interchangeable. So you could buy that, long action, and you could be shooting 308 in it. And I want to go shoot longer range. I want to change that bolt face out to a Magnum bolt face. Then you're shooting 300 PRC, and you got a new barrel on it, same chassis or stock that you're using. It gives people more options, and that's kind of where I want to see the company go. Is we provide more options, whether it's on the reloading component side, expanding that to the full-blown custom rifle if somebody wants, or if they bring a factory rifle in, they want us to accurize it. We'll do what we can. I mean, you can only do so much to a factory rifle before it's just like, you kind of got to look at the cost, and it's like, okay, if you're putting a proof barrel on at $1,000 carbon fiber barrel, if you're putting, Timmy trigger at $250 or whatever, it's like, if you're still using that factory action and it hasn't been trued and polished and all that good stuff, it's like, why not just go full blown custom at that point? If
Be right back, guys.
That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Because once you've put that kind of money into it, I mean, you might as well have gone. If you start adding up the barrel, the chassis, you start on tooling work and blueprinting the action. You might as well just start with good, the top of the line stuff to begin with, and that's what I've experienced in doing AR-15s since 1984. Is that sometimes you're just better off, you nickel and dime yourself to death, and you're just better off to pay once, cry once, or cry once, buy once type thing. Okay, so we got an understanding of where you want to go with what you got going on and where you're located and everything in Wyoming there. What do you see the bolt action performance precision rifles? Where do you see those going in the next 5 or 10 years? Right now, we're in this huge growth spurt.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many custom action makers out there right now, especially in the last few years. They've, you've had companies just coming out of the woodworks. You've got a lot more competitions coming out, and things are changing. I mean, you just had the NRL Hunter Series that one's definitely got my interest peaked as for my own personal reasons, because being a hunter, that type of series makes sense. So I think you're going to continue to see changes in chassis, stocks. You're going to see people trying to make, build that better mousetrap, if you will.
Yeah.
If you look in just the last year, you've had chassis makers go from the aluminum chassis to combinations of magnesium, aluminum stuff to lighten it up. MTT came out with their chassis that is like, I think it's 24 ounces, and that's the buttstock, everything together. I mean, that's just ridiculously light for a chassis. And then if you throw a carbon fiber barrel and all that, I mean, I would not want to shoot a Magnum out of something that light, because you could probably make a Magnum rifle with a chassis like whether it's MDT or another one of these companies that has one of those magnesium chassis, and you could probably be at that 5 pound mark, maybe 7 pounds with optics. And I've got a lighter weight Lapua. I would not even want to go down to that light and shoot something that big because it would punish you.
Oh yeah.
If that's your thing, what you want to do, great, but you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's like those guys that'll buy a 7mm Ultra Mag 7-pound bolt action rifle,
Yeah.
and then they'll take it up to the range and they'll shoot it, and they'll be like, "Oh, this hurts like hell." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it's a hunting rifle. You're gonna be so jacked on adrenaline when you squeeze off that round that you're not gonna feel that shot." But that's why I don't like those big Magnum rifles, because before the hunt, you're trying to sight that rifle in. And you're paying the price because you're talking a 7-pound rifle that's kicking, like 30 pounds of energy back into your shoulder, which is uncomfortable.
Yeah. The first year elk hunting up here, I went with a 338 Win Mag, and it wasn't anything fancy. Ended up, it was just a cheap Savage, plastic stock and all that. Did not have any muzzle device whatsoever on it. And when I went out to sight that in, I think it was about 5-6 months before hunting season, touched that first round. Oh, I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
I hated it. So the first thing I did was I'm like, before I even continue, I went, spun the barrel, put a muzzle brake on it. And I'm like, this is much better. I can work with this. So yeah, I think the big steps that we've seen right now are the optics side of the planet, or the game. I mean, you look at what companies, Night Force, Callus, even Vortex, the stuff that they're coming out with, really good features, really good glass, and not gonna break the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you do get what you pay for on the optics and firearm side. I will be the first one to admit, when I first started many, many years ago, when I was like 12, I still got the Bushnell scope from 30 plus years ago that was originally on my 243, and I keep it for nostalgic purposes. It's broke. It will not hold zero. Go figure, after military career, getting kicked around too from move to move to move, and then hunting and everything else. But I look at the glass in that compared to like the Razor HD I have and the Night Force Attacker. It's like, wow, there's a difference when you go up.
Yeah.
I saw, I think Michael had a question if I'm a gunsmith. Yes, I am a certified gunsmith. There's a lot more tools I'd like to have, lathe, mill. It's just, that's pricey. I can't afford it right now because, like I was telling Echo, I use my normal job, if you will, to fund my company, because I went into this not wanting to go into debt. That's why I used my shop here. Could I probably afford a small brick and mortar? Yeah. But I wanted to eliminate as much overhead as possible getting into it so I could build that capital up and eventually expand into a proper shop somewhere closer into towns. That way I could get more people in. But the nice thing is when you come out to the shop out here, if you bought the rifle and we got the ammo, want to go test it out? We step right out on the backside of the property, start shooting.
Yeah, that's awesome that you've got a spot that's like that, especially for testing rifle platforms. And you know what else is, if you get an order from a customer like myself and I want to see that rifle shot, you could literally do it on your YouTube channel and show a video of my rifle being shot. Or a customer's rifle being shot, and show you exactly what you're getting into before you even receive the rifle back to your FFL, or to you personally if you live in a free state like Florida and you're sending a rifle in for work done to it, gunsmithing work. Basically, the gunsmith can just return that rifle to my personal house without sending it to an FFL. Unfortunately, places like California, they have to have a FFL receive that rifle back, and then they charge a transfer fee again after doing a NICS check and whatnot. But the thing I was going to get at is if there's any questions in the side chat.
Yep.
What is on I want to see if anybody has any questions for Chris, and then I'm just going to just ask him some questions. AR, do you see anything in the side chat there, brother?
Yeah, they're asking, is Chris a licensed gunsmith?
Yeah, he said yes, he is a licensed gunsmith. Where'd you go to school, Chris?
I took some classes down here at the Douglas College, and then I did some online stuff too, because I try to incorporate everything, because I don't. Some of the gunsmiths I've talked to, like I've had one kid that went to the Colorado School of Trades there about 20 years ago. He's come to me for advice, and I'm like, did they not teach you this? Because, like, use an example, he brought me he's a gunsmith. He brought me his AR. He's like, I'm having light primer strikes and all this and all that. And I'm like, okay. First thing I do, as you probably well know, Echo, is function check, clean it. When I pulled that bolt carrier group, oh my dear Lord.
It's like solid, where it's like when you look down the bolt, when you look down yes,
the firing pin normally will fall free.
Yes,
I had to sit there, and I could not get the bolt to even turn. So I cleaned the heck out of it. And of course, when somebody brings a gun in and they're having issues, I ask them, do you have some ammo that you're having the issues with? Bring that ammo in. So after I do everything, I will use their ammo to see if I can replicate that problem. Because it could be an ammo issue.
Exactly. Yeah. And right now,
not all ammo is created equal.
Yeah. And right now, we're seeing a lot of ammunition from countries in Turkey, Spain, stuff like that. And a lot of these companies are decent ammo manufacturers, but there's a few that are not. And you get some stuff that may have raised primers in it, and the initial strike of the primer of the firing pin is seating the primer. It's not actually, and you'll notice if your bolt gun, if you go click and you count 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5, and it doesn't go off, just lift the handle again on the bolt and then set it back down and pull it again. See if it'll go off. Double tap that primer. That's just one of those things. So a lot of this ammunition, you want to make sure you're looking at it before you are shooting it, making sure everything looks good to you, that there's no cracks in the necks of the cases. There's no high primers that are sitting proud. The bullets are sitting straight in the necks of the cases. You don't see any goofiness going on, and you seeing conformity from one round to the next, and not anything that looks like, well, this looks different than all the other ones. Make sure that you're getting consistent rounds. And if nobody else is going to ask any questions, what I'm going to see is
hang on a minute.
Oh, you got some more?
Did you answer Key-Web's question?
Well, no.
Do you think alternative materials, would be example, lead, brass, copper, will become more common for recreational and competition use? I think I know the answer to that, but go ahead and answer that, Chris, if you like.
I think with what we're seeing now in the industry, where, predominantly, bullets are made of brass. We know that. I think you're going to see companies experiment with alternative materials to try to replicate the same things that we want to accomplish, because they may be able to get a certain material in over the normal stuff that we've used in the industry. So I think you're going to see people experiment Am I going to experiment? No, I can't afford to do all that. I'll let the big companies, Hornaday, whoever the manufacturer are, they've got the deep pockets. I'll let them figure it out. And I'll just look at the science behind it and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, especially I've been seeing a lot of stuff with polymers lately that they're using steel caps in the bottom of the polymer in the what we would consider the webbing, the head webbing, and they're using steel in the polymer in there, and they're starting to get some pretty cool stuff out of that.
Yeah, there's that ammo company out of Texas. I forget the name that makes that polymer case now. I've seen in a few gun magazines. Oh,
oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Who is that company?
Andy says zinc.
Zinc, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If all wheel weights go to zinc, everybody will be reloading zinc one day.
Let's see.
I'm trying to remember that. True Velocity.
True. Yep. That's it.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the ammo personally, but I've heard it. In the shelves. I'd kind of like to bring some in. I want to see how it compares. I understand it's going to be a lot lighter than brass, and from my understanding, you can't reload the polymer cases.
Right.
One-time deal, and that's it. So I think there's a possibility if it's decent ammo, it might be if you're looking at a backcountry hunt in, say, mountains here in Wyoming or Alaska or someplace where we all know as far as backcountry hunts go, ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. So you want to shave as much weight as possible. That might be a viable option for people if they're looking to really go out into the sticks, if it's a consistent and accurate ammo.
Yeah. The concern you may have, because I know with plastic, if you're shooting plastic ammunition, like if I shoot brass and it goes out into the woods, that brass in 100 years is going to be some corroded metal that is basically probably still somewhat brass, but probably green colored and look, whereas plastic, a million years from now, that stuff's going to be laying around. So there's some more things for lead not being as harmful to the countryside as everyone likes to exaggerate about it. The lead that's in bullets is the same lead that they mine out of the ground. So there's that. And it's only when they refine lead and heat it and get the vapors off of the lead and use that in materials is it really deadly to human beings. You can,
and that's why they say when you're casting bullets, you should have a well ventilated area.
Yes, that's why they tell you, and watch your temperatures not to go above whatever I'm not a caster, but I'm thinking it's 800 degrees or something like that, close to it. But and watch your color of your lead. When lead starts rapidly changing colors to like an orangish type of color, you know that you've hit that too hot spot and that it will start. I think it's an orangish color, but one of the casters will probably correct me. Andy, what is that color you want to stay away from?
Later, Michael.
Michael's taking off?
Yeah.
All right, Michael. And to answer your question, Michael, I've been out of school for about 2 years, but I've been messing with my own firearms much longer than that. I just decided to finally get officially trained to do what I want to do.
How long was your school, Chris? How long did you stay?
Well, where I was working full time, it took a little over 2 years. Because I couldn't be your traditional student and 40 hours a week. It would have been a lot shorter than that, so it stretched it out.
Now, I know you and your wife both are past military personnel. What do you guys both kind of have a thing, a direction you're pushing the shop towards the Second Amendment and making your own kind of little stand I mean, it's been my thing, and that's why I was asking you about brick and mortar shops.
Mhm.
It's been my understanding for many a generation that our gun shops are basically places where people used to hang out and talk,
Mhm.
and now we see a lot more of that online like we're doing here.
Yeah.
But a lot of the old timers that have a lot of the good knowledge that they've learned over 40, 50 years of reloading and casting and working on guns, um, that is some of the places you can actually meet people like that and introduce yourself and get a little knowledge from people like that. I've always been a big crusader for local gun shops. That's why when
Mhm.
you said you planned on opening eventually to the general public, excuse me, that I was so excuse me, hold on. I was so excited in having you on the show because it really is a dying breed,
It is.
the gun shop owner,
Yeah.
and I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment as far as it goes for each and every individual person. Their choice whether or not to own a firearm is theirs, but I also like to see the mom and pop shops stay in business and become stronger and help support the Second Amendment in any way possible, whether it's selling a gun, whether it's teaching someone how to reload, it's teaching someone how to shoot for the first time, or maybe, later on you can even think about having, like inner city kids come up and do a
Mhm.
shooting thing or something. So it's really cool the position you're in to help the community and help yourself to run a good business that is gonna put money in your pocket and food on the table for you and your wife. And I'm really glad that we were able to have you on this evening. Is there anything that I haven't covered that you would like to go over or hit on?
Yeah. Like you're talking promotion of Second Amendment. One of the things I've done even when I was first even in gunsmithing school or even before that for that matter, and I will continue to do this, and I've done it since officially opening, is the education part. Yeah, at the end of the day, do I want somebody to buy a rifle for me? But you know what? If Uncle John shoots me an email and he's like, "Hey, I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm looking at this rifle. Is this a good price?" Or if somebody wants some information, is this caliber? I've got a nephew that's getting into hunting. Oh, shoot me an email, call me up. Let's talk about what if it's going to be the right caliber for a person or for you. I'd rather have somebody educated going into a gun purchase than because I mean, how many times have you been into a gun store and it's fun going in and you kind of play the dumb guy to see what that salesman behind that counter is going to try to push on you
Yeah.
because yeah, they want to get that big sale. They want so that they might have that 50 BMG or a 338 or whatever. But
Or whatever hasn't been selling.
right,
I've
uh,
experienced that
yeah,
myself going to a store and so they'll
yeah,
have 50 of the same gun and they're not moving and they're like whatever you do
yep,
move these guns this week
yep,
and they'll try to put that gun in the hands of people that they know damn well
yep,
that gun is not going to suit their needs.
yep,
And I
yep.
that's just
I like I said, I want to get to know my customer, whether they end up going through me or not. I want them to be able to go into, say they're in Billings, Montana, they're going into Cabela's. I want to go in there with the knowledge that based off their budget, here are some very accurate, reliable firearms that you should consider. You do want to stay away from these. They may push these. We know for a while Taurus had very bad QA/QC issues. We know that. Um, for a while, Remington, pre Freedom Group, they were very, very solid actions. Their QA/QC, while they were still good rifles, they let a lot more things slip. A lot of companies do that when ownerships change and stuff like that. So I want somebody to go in knowing what they're going to buy. At the end of the day, if somebody comes up to me, I want to buy, some Schmidt and Bender $5,000 scope, and it's just to go plink 22 ammo. If that's what they want to spend on, great, have at it. Why didn't you go buy, a mid-level Vortex or a mid-level Leopold, and it's going to save you bucks, and then you can spend that towards your ammo if you're not going to reload. So
Yeah.
I just want people, to realize majority of us in the business or the firearms community, we're very nice people. We're going to share the information with you. We don't want anything in return. We want you to be educated. All we ask is you pass that knowledge on to the next person.
Very good. I'm really glad I had you on tonight. Chris, we're going to continue to promote your shop for the next 30 days and continue on after that. And I'm going to give it a whirl, and AR is going to give it a whirl, order some stuff from you and see, give you a little review on YouTube. And I want everybody to also know that Chris has a YouTube channel we're trying to get promoted. And you can go on there and he'll have some videos and stuff he's going to be doing on there. As I think you told me on Cerakoting and stuff like that, you were going to show off some projects, and you guys will be able to ask questions to Chris, and also be able to, if you are looking for a particular rifle or something like that, get his email address from him and make contact with him and set up him to get you a rifle that you want or build you one that you've always wanted.
Yeah, I'll do what I can.
Do you have a YouTube? Do you have a YouTube link to his YouTube site?
Yes, in my description box on this, in the description box for this live stream is both his YouTube channel, and I believe I've got his website for his displaying on the stream banner going across the bottom of the screen. That's where you can actually go and make orders for his for products you may be looking for, and then his YouTube link is in the description box on the channel. So,
got it.
AR, will you please run us out of here this evening?
Yeah. Hey, appreciate you all coming in. Appreciate it a lot. Great having you on here, Chris. And it's good to see Echo on the cam too. I like that. I'm gonna call a few people off. 67 Rebels, good to see you. Uncle John, Andre, Michael Hurtnick, Uncle John again. Let's see. Jer Bear Tactical's here. Good to see you, Jer Bear. He's on the forum. Andre Rollis Carvelis, he's here. Old one guy, excuse me. Gun Loving Grandpa. Michael Hurtnick, always seeing you, Michael. Good to see you. Andy Z29, of course, the robe. Passion of the Christ. That reminds me when he says robe. I don't know why. Who else? Vanessa Kitty, good to have you. Appreciate you always dropping in. Eagle Ron, he was here. Good to have him. Hang on a second, guys. I think that's about it. That's about it.
I know somebody I remember seeing asked about Marlin rifles. Going back to production. Last I heard from where they got bought out by Ruger, the plan is still by the end of this year, beginning of next year, to start seeing Marlins come back into the market.
Yeah, great. Ooh. Yeah, I seen that earlier. I just didn't say anything good about it.
Yeah. I want a 30-30 or a 45-70.
Oh, 30-30.
Yeah, I've got two guys that want Marlins already, and I was like, as soon as they hit the distributors, I'll put them on order. I go, just waiting for them to start producing.
I love the 336C, the one with the black walnut.
Oh, yeah, the pretty one.
Yeah, checkered, everything.
I think where Ruger bought them out with the quality that Ruger has been putting out lately, I'm very intrigued to see what they're going to do with that brand.
Very intrigued.
Do we know yet if they're gonna? Oh, they've got to, because Freedom Group moved them to Huntsville, Alabama,
Mhm.
and then now they're gonna have to move again to probably Ruger's production plant.
I would think
Let
so. I haven't heard what they're actually doing.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that
Mhm.
Ruger brings along a few of those guys that have been making those rifles for a while and don't do what
Oh,
Freedom Group did and fire all those guys,
yeah,
because those Marlin rifles that they turned out in the beginning of that transfer were some of the worst rifles
yeah.
known to man.
Oh,
They had different color pieces of wood on them, that came from
yeah.
two different, it was horrible.
Horrible.
And it was a shame
I,
because
I think with Ruger, the way they do things, I can see them paying those guys that have been there for 30 plus years, that know what they're doing, paying them very well to make sure, or at least even come out of retirement, if that, to make sure they do things to that
yeah,
standard.
yeah,
Rebel
I
said,
go ahead, AR. I didn't mean to step on you.
sorry, man. Didn't mean to step on you. Eagle Eye just dropped in. Rebel says he needs a 4570 or a 5110 for Alaska if you can help me.
I will see. Rebel, if you shoot me an email at backcountryarms@gmail.com, I'll see what I can find for you. I can't
Hey,
guarantee
I
it, but I'll
will.
check the distributors.
I didn't mean to walk on you. I will put his email address in the description box as soon as this chat's over with, so you guys can come back, get his YouTube channel and his email right in. I didn't know if he was going to want to give his email out, but since
It's
he's
on the
already said,
website, so
oh, it's on the website. So there you
yeah.
go. You can also go to his website, which I have going across the banner, and you can get his email and probably a phone number and figure it out. 67 Rebel. Yeah, if you need a weapon for Alaska, please give him a call or email him and let him know exactly what you're looking for and how soon you need it.
It's always a pleasure, guys, seeing you on. Always good to see the side chat. We're going to wrap this up. Is that right, Echo?
Yes, sir. We're shutting her down.
Y'all have a good night. See
Night,
you
everybody.
next week. Good
Good
having you,
night.
Chris. Nice meeting
Thanks
you,
for
Chris.
letting me on, guys.
hmm
Yeah, brother. We're going to have you back on eventually,
Yeah.
because we're going to keep hanging out. Everyone have a nice evening and have a great weekend. And stay tuned. Georgia Shooting Connection will be up at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tell Jamie that Echo sent you. Take it easy, y'all.